What's up, guys? It's Ben 10,000 Wajo, your friendly neighborhood Yu-Gi-Oh! Superhero, and today, guys, we're gonna become one with the dark magic. Well, that didn't go as planned. Alright, now all my antics aside, today's video is a viewer-requested deck profile! Because one of my, I believe, newer subscribers left a comment that they wanted my take on a Dark Magician deck, and since you guys are like the awesomest subscribers ever, I decided to deliver. So today, guys, I'm going to give you my take on the Dark Magician deck. I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do here is, if you're new, I'm going to show you some replays. They're going to be at a little faster pace, so you're going to have to like really pay attention. I'm going to have some music behind them, so you know you got a little something to listen to. And then towards the end of the video, I'm going to have like 5 replays, and then we will go over the deck profile and explain card choices, how the deck works, etc. So, without further ado, let's begin. Alright, there you have it, guys. This is my really weird, I don't know what you would call this, my Dark Magician deck. This is just something that's kind of, I want to say I really had to think about this because the truth is, the reason this deck is built the way it is because when I was trying to record all this stuff and figure out the best kind of build, I came across something that I realized that the Dark Magician deck is going to have a trouble with coming in the future, which is the Thunder Dragon deck. So I was playing really late at night, and there's just, oh my gosh, it was like every other game, and I'm getting my teeth kicked in, right? So that's also why, if you're new here, that's why you see the extra cards besides the Dark Magician stuff kind of changes throughout the replays until it eventually comes to what you're seeing now. That's kind of give you an evolution of my thought process, almost. So, ultimately, what I decided was cards like Pot of Duality, which were traditionally associated with the Dark Magician deck, just don't have a place in the way that the deck is going to have to play going forward. And this version actually fights pretty well against decks that are currently being played. Now, oh, and if you're new here, by the way, you can always ignore the sideboard. That's just cards that I play around with. So just in case you're new here, that's, you know, since I know I got a whole slew of new guys here. So welcome. But essentially what you're going for with this deck is you want to go plus, and you want to be able to make the Apprentice Witchling, essentially. So that's why you've got cards like the Caligo Claw Crow, Juragato, and Supreme King Dragon Darkworm, and Exodius. These cards are all basically just to get out free monsters, so we can summon the, the Wee Witch's Apprentice. Basically, we summon her out. She gives all of our dark monsters a big 500 boost, so it makes them a little bit harder to get around. Basically, essentially turning this dude to being as strong as a Cyber Dragon, which, let's face it, who doesn't love that, right? Also, I know that Ash Blossom is just a pain in the royal backside to get around. So essentially what I've tried to do is build this version of the deck to not be as susceptible to it by making the opponent pick and choose what they're going to negate. So if you, I don't know, negate the dragon's effect to add, or this guy's effect to add, or Allure of Darkness to draw, I mean, the other effects can still go off, essentially causing the opponent to waste their Ash Blossom because they don't really stop you from playing the game. Now, also the reason why we switched to, like I mentioned for Thunder Dragons, the big one, I think it's called the Super Bolt Dragon, the Fusion. It's a big SOB. The point is it's like a Thunder Dragon. The Thunder Dragon is basically Thunder King Ryo with ridiculous level stats. So the point is we still needed to be able to draw through our deck and get cards to potentially get him off the field. So that's why we switched to an Allure of Darkness variant of the deck, because it says that we can't search cards, but it doesn't say anything about drawing them, which that helps a whole lot, because this is also, in case it looks a little bit funny to you, this is based off of my actual version of the deck. I own this deck, and that's why you only see one Dark Magic Circle, because I actually only own one Dark Magic Circle. Please forgive me. But if nothing else, I'm a master of working with what I have and making it work. And this is what I came up with. We have a little bit of hand trappage here with Juragato, and that seems to help a whole lot. And another reason why we want to make the Apprentice Witchling is so we can use our Dark Renewal. Because not a lot of Dark Magician players seem to be playing this right now, it's a really good, surprise! Your opponent may not fall for it every time, but, it can get you an early win. And, of course, that's what sideboards are for. Also, this trap probably looks really weird to you guys, and I totally understand that. Phantom Knight's Wing. Why are we doing this? Because Konami, in their infinite wisdom, was like, hey, let's make Eternal Soul wipe the board. Yeah, way to go, Konami. Dumbasses. Anyway, Eternal Soul essentially is our Call of the Haunted / search for, dark magic attack. But if the opponent takes it out with a Twin Twister, we lose our Dark Magician. So this card is to mitigate that. Plus, that 500 boost is a permanent boost, which sometimes having just a 3,000 body can help give the monster a bit more staying power on the board. And if nothing else, if we don't have this, say we get out our Dark Magician with Navigation, we might need another way to keep him on the field long enough to use something like, say, the Eye of Timaeus, and that's where this card will come in handy there as well. One thing that I noticed about the Dark Magician is they have a whole lot of, tricks, so to speak. They can do banishes, they have negates, they have the ability to, tribute other opponents' monsters to get your monsters out. That's all well and good, but the deck has always lacked one thing: brute force. And that is why we throw in cards like the Phantom Knight's Wings and Juragato. We also throw in the Dark Armed Dragon. These cards are just basically brute force cards. They're like, I can destroy your stuff, or I can make my guy bigger than your guy. And that's going to, and that kind of helps mitigate the Dark Magician's weaknesses. Now, we also will have, just a ton of room down here to work with. So, if you guys want to try this variant out and you see something that would work better for you, there's plenty of room to work with. You don't have to play Dark Renewal. That's just a card I like to play. This card is not required. And you don't have to play... if you're playing this engine, you should at least play 2 of the Shrine. You don't necessarily need it all the time. The reason why we're only playing 2 of this guy, because essentially we're just searching the gate to use it as a Allure of Darkness fodder. That's it. Other than that, the gate is basically a dead draw, unless we wanted to activate it with this guy and summon these weenie monsters. but that's kind of meh as a move. Also, if we can make the Apprentice Witchling and then throw out the World Crown out there, which, by the way, is a rare, and it's on the list of cheap cards you might want to pick up from Cybernetic Horizon. This card basically it's kind of like a breakthrough skill, but on legs. Like, so you could actually summon it and like fight with it, if you need to, and you want to throw a little extra damage for having, it's going to be a 25 beater if you put it under the Wee Witch, and if your opponent activates a monster effect that's a monster from the extra deck, this thing contribute itself and negate and destroy that card. Sounds pretty good to me. So yeah, this is my Dark Magician deck, and obviously, like, if we go to the extra deck, we have like some standard stuff. We have all the Eye of Timaeus targets, which that'll vary on what you're up against. Most of the time, you're probably going to go for the Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, but just because if you get this out with Eternal Soul and Dark Magic Circle, you basically win. If you need a little more brute force, like I've been talking about, you've got these two guys, and this guy is a spell negator. We also have the ability to steal opponent's monsters or banish opponent's monsters. This Tomahawk is useful for link plays. We are playing a Qliphort Genius just to open up those zones. This is just filler. The rest of it's very much just filler. Like, essentially all you need are these cards. The truth is the Dark Magician deck doesn't really rely on the extra deck all that much. I've gone for more of a brute force, kind of beat the opponent down type of style, because that's kind of the way I like to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And so these guys are all, you could take all of them out, just every one of these guys. And this is all that's required for this deck. The rest of it is your playground. And in case you're new here, the reason I do this is because I don't want to determine how you play Yu-Gi-Oh! I just want to tell you what the necessary parts are for the deck, for the version of the deck that I'm playing, and then I give you plenty of room for you to play your own style in there. If you want to throw in a tech that's more you, or you think you have a way to make this a little bit more effective, like I said, for example, if you happen to have triple of this, I mean, you've easily got the cards to take out right here. Boom, you've got plenty of room to work with. You don't even have to play this if you don't really want to. If you've got something that you think is more effective, by all means do so. I mostly try to build my decks, even viewer requested decks. If I happen to also play them personally, I try to build them with a little more my own personal style and based off of what I own. So if you're new here, that should explain all of that. I'm Ben2000YJO, your friendly neighborhood Yu-Gi-Oh! Superhero. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Let me know that you enjoyed this crazy deck profile. If you think of a way that you think of that can improve this deck, please feel free to leave that comment below. If you also have a viewer requested deck that you want to see in the future from me, please by all means feel free to comment that. I always love to test myself and try new decks. This is just one of the crazy brain children that has come out of my head for Dark Magicians. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you guys Thursday. Peace.